too.
Yeah, lovely. So I'll let Namantu introduce herself in a moment, but I would really love to thank you all for putting aside the time and making the commitment to kind of join this session. And we've wanted to do a longer session, a more um, in-depth session. But Nabantu has, if you've checked the last newsletter that I sent out, and if you haven't, please message me and I'll make sure you get it. But there's in there a flyer which is for a longer program that Nabantu has in November, and we can talk about that later on if there's time. Um, but this is sort of a special event as part of the Human Leadership Collective, and we've been talking about kind of bringing in new ideas and just things that help us think more about how do we make human leadership possible? Where are there wisdoms that don't come from our conventional sources? So this was really an opportunity to open our minds to different philosophies and ideas. So yeah, and I won't say too much more, and just hand over to Nabantu to introduce herself and lead us through the rest of the session.
Just taking you in, it fills my heart. Sanibonani. That's how we say when we greet here. And that means I see you, I recognize you, I see your ancestors, I see your hopes, your dreams and strengths, and I recognize your struggles too. So happy to be here, and a big thanks to Chaya for inviting me. We've planned this for quite some time now, and I'm so excited, Chaya, that it's actually happening. Yes, in the presence of strong women. Hey? So I'm just overjoyed. So my name is Nobantu Mpotulo. I'm based in South Africa. And I grew up in an extended family. My aunt took me in when I was a month old because my mother had to work. So I had the opportunity of having two mothers. And in the spirit of Ubuntu, my aunt brought me as her own. People would not know whether I was hers or my mother's. And in that instance, she had a daughter that was about 18 months older than me. And after a year, she had another child. So this brave woman was bringing up three children, three toddlers, three babies, three plants for her. And that's how we've grown up in this part of the world. Through that spirit of non-separateness. Like I remember when I grew up, when it was supper time, we were about 20 in the home where I grew up, and there would always be two extra plates so that if there is a stranger that's coming through, there would be food for that stranger. So what is this Ubuntu? And how can we interweave this into the leaders that we are in leading the people we're leading? Ubuntu, if I can say it in my language, means umtu ngumtu ngabantu. I am because we are. I cannot be fully me if you are unable to be fully yourself. So if I can think of our late President Nelson Mandela, when he talked about Ubuntu, he said, in Africa, there is a concept known as Ubuntu. The profound sense that we are human only through the humanity of others. That if we are to accomplish anything in this world, it will, in equal measure, be due to the strength and the achievement of others. So what this says is that I can never be alone. I can never be an island. I can never be a refugee anywhere. I'm connected to others. I'm connected to Mother Nature. And if you think about Ubuntu, I would like you to think about the mushrooms. We see the mushrooms above the ground. And we look at these mushrooms that are standing individually as they appear above the ground. And yet, underneath the ground, there's mycelia, the roots of the mushrooms that connect, that go deeper and deeper underground and connect with the roots of other trees. And they share food, they share water, they have a special language. So that is indeed the spirit of Ubuntu. And if you take this further, you take it to leadership. It is human-centered leadership. Because as a person, I see myself in you. Therefore, I develop this compassionate heart towards others. And if I see myself in you, I cannot harm you because you are an extension of me. That's where you would find this kind of leadership is servant leadership. Leadership that looks at the interests of the whole, at the interest of the good of humanity, doing better, human better in society. And if I'm thinking of another tribe in Southern Africa, because this concept is practiced widely in Southern Africa, in Zambia, there is a tribe. So what happens in this tribe when there is someone in the tribe who is a menace to the community? What they would do, they would call all the community members, young and old, and then they would form a circle. This person would be put at the center of the circle. And then everyone in the community, the young, the old, would shower this person with a lot of praise about the good that they do in the society. Once that has happened, then you would find that they would have this celebration, they would have this feast celebrating and just recognizing the good in this person. And that person eventually changes and gets in touch with the goodness that is in them. So if you're looking at this Ubuntu, it is so much linked to appreciative inquiry, where as a leader in each and every system, you're looking for what is working instead of looking and poking holes into the things that are not working. And through that, you find that people connect more. And even those who are outcasts in the community at work, they somehow feel I cannot continue with this because I am wholly accepted, unconditionally accepted. Everyone in this community has positive regard for me. Just for a second, picture a team you're leading and you are finding whatever little good that is happening. And what I want to emphasize here, Ubuntu leadership, it's not that we pay a blind eye to what needs to be pointed. It doesn't mean that we shy away from courageous conversations, but we do that from the heart. We do that somatically from the body, because as we are doing that, giving the person feedback, we are looking at even accentuating the goodness that they have, such that they can see that I'm not totally outcasted by the team, by the group, by the community, by the society to which I belong. I just want for a moment for that to settle in, just for us to pause in that and just feel into your body what's happening as you're hearing this. And with that, I would like to take a pause and let everyone introduce themselves from your heart, from the roots, from who you really are. And just to say, how are you in this moment, in this Ubuntu moment? I'm going to just mute myself and allow whoever is ready, pause to relax and allow emergence as to what you would like to put into this circle.
Well, introduce myself. I'm Camilla, and I don't know exactly what you want to know about me, but my feeling was that I was relaxing into this safe space and yeah, just calmly listening to you, just being, I'd say.
Hi everyone, my name's Karen. I'm a friend of Chaya and Jackie's. We've worked together in the past. I echo what Camilla has said in terms of really felt that warmth and that calmness and the relaxation, and almost supported by the words that you're saying in terms of find the good, and it triggered my mind's of work of a lady who writes a lot about positive psychology, and Cheryl Whitman, in terms of finding the good, and some of the reading that's done around servant leadership. But yeah, really inspired. Thank you.
Hi everybody, I'm Helen. I was, as the other two ladies have said, just letting this all flow over me, all your words, Nobantu. So thank you very much for that. I'd heard of Ubuntu before, and I must say that I hadn't really made the connection between that and leadership. So thank you for introducing it in this way. I'd always thought it was more societal, but now I can see where, from what you've been saying, that it is absolutely applicable to the way that we lead. So thank you for that.
I can go. I think you all know me. I'm Chaya. I really felt a lot of warmth in this, and I feel this every time when I've spoken to you, Nobantu, as well. But I think there's something that a question that came out in me as you were talking, which is about the way we treat people, the way we treat someone who is in pain or not at their best, and how respectful and how interconnected we can be if we appreciate that in each other. Unfortunately, in business, I've seen a lot of the opposite, and it's really inspirational to think in this very interconnected way. So yeah, and especially that connection to our bodies as well. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
So hi everyone, I'm Jackie. Thank you, Ubuntu. I really enjoyed that. There are two things that happened to me while I was listening to you. Firstly, I kind of felt this heart swelling because I suppose I love finding connections with people, and I love the way that you described how you cannot be fully yourself if you cannot be with others who can be fully themselves. And that resonated very strongly with me. The other thing is that you brought back memories, because I was very lucky to have worked with a wonderful team in South Africa for 5 years. And you brought back memories of how they made me feel and how I always felt that my well-being was their joy in some respects, and how open and honest and truly themselves they were when they were with me. And that was actually a very happy memory, and a lovely team that, you know, I still cherish. So thank you.
Farah, are you there?
Hello, everyone. I'm Farah, and yes, I would say, Ubuntu, that when you were just trying to say all that, I am in a core leadership role, and I have a huge team to handle. And like you were saying, I was just trying to absorb it as it was coming, and I was able to recollect a lot of conversations, sometimes that go really well, and I could reflect on, yeah, there are some times we are. I didn't know that was a Ubuntu approach that would be, but at times we do slip away from the conversations, and it doesn't go that way. And I'm trying to go back and think, how could we make those conversations equally better, applying the same kind of thoughts, feelings, actions that I just heard from you. So thank you so much. I think this is the most relevant workshop I'm attending, because I believe in servant leadership. I believe in serving people as it's for them, and we are there to always help them out and help them navigate through their struggles, and that's always the intent, though. But being consistent is very important, and being mindful about situations is also very important. So thank you so much, Ubuntu. It was very helpful.
Thank you, everyone, for bringing your voices in. Now I feel even more connected that I've heard your voices. So if we look up at this Ubuntu, this has got a basis, and it's on a bedrock of 7 C's. So when we think of Ubuntu, we think about sailing 7 seas. And what are these seas that we sail in this Ubuntu-ful leadership? Compassion. And if we're thinking about compassion, we have to distinguish this from empathy. Empathy is awareness, is walking in another person's shoes. It's at an awareness level. And if we look at compassion, it's at an action level. I have empathy for you, and then I get involved in compassionate acts. I just don't feel what you feel. That's good to feel what I feel, but for goodness sake, I'm suffering. So it's doing something about it that is possible, that you can do. And as you do that, you find that That's a give and take situation, because as you giving, there's something that you receive. Whether you become grateful for having been there to be able to do that compassionate act. So that's the first C, compassion and caring. How do I not objectify the other? How can I see a person that's whole, that's good, that's got aspirations like me? And in my caring, how do I pave the way for that person such that they can be able to get in touch with their destination? It's a courageous act. In this time that we're in, this time of greed, hatred, and delusion, to be able to have that courage to be compassionate and caring, it's not a little thing. And then it's about being curious. Who is this person? What does this person need? Instead of being a rescuer. Ubuntu is not rescuing the other, but what you do, you're curious to know this person. And as a result, you don't just give handouts. And as we do that, we co-create together. Projects might come. That's why if you think about in a leadership sense, rather than telling, selling, and yelling at the people we lead, we co-create with them. I have this idea. What do you think? Is this a good idea? What else do you have that you could do? Maybe even something that is different from this idea. And as we do that, we connect and we become one, and as such, unbreakable team. And then that helps us to commit to action. So the 7 C's are compassion, caring, courage, curiosity, co-creation, connectedness, and commitment to action. And I've developed a mantra around this. Mantra I love so much that the first part of this mantra is based on our greeting, Sawubona. So as leaders, we have to see more. We have to hear more. We have to love more. We have to illuminate more. We have to be more and do less. And if we can settle into that, I'm telling you, our work as managers would not be as surmountable as it is. But we would find that I trust so and so, I trust this one can do it. And as a result, I don't shoulder all the responsibilities on my shoulders. So I'd like to take a pause here just to find out what is emerging in you. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to take you into small groups, groups of 2, just to do a little bit of an exercise sampling this. And then we come together, we have a conversation, and then that would be the end of the session. So what is being evoked in you in this moment? What's your head? What's your heart? What's your body? What's your soul whispering into you right now?
What it evoked for me was really strong memory and experience I've had over the last year. of a virtual team that I've worked in with colleagues I've never met in person, and how I think we unknowingly worked in quite a number of ways, maybe covering some of the 7 Cs, maybe not all of them, but yeah, in the last year with the pandemic and the hardship that colleagues have had to go through at different points, I do think there was true compassion and going beyond that empathy to really understand, what is possible to help colleagues, and that strong demonstration of care to help them do what they need to do despite the struggles that we're facing, but also the courage to speak up and call things out when, and that have that safety that you could say, I don't think you're okay, or I'm not okay, or we shouldn't be doing this work now, it's not important, there are other things that are more important. But definitely that connectedness, and that co-creation and that curiosity and kind of almost creativity that came out of that, in terms of being so in tune with each other as a team and connected and having that trust, to really co-create some really special work that I'm really proud of.
Thank you for that, Karen. Actually, there has been a lot of studies done during this pandemic and the lockdown, and most of these point out to the facts of how compassion, how people somehow loosened their grip and breathing over people's necks. And Edgar Shane was looking into that as well, as to how much people have started to get in touch with their hearts. And Nelson Mandela once said, the longest distance is the distance between the head and the heart. So it looks like we started little by little to shorten that distance during this pandemic.
It's really interesting looking at these 7 Cs, because I'm leading a team, and there's only one person in the team that I've actually met face to face. The others I have never met before, so I know them from this little box here, and it demands a completely different personal approach. I find how you actually connect with people, and how you talk to them, and you see them for the hour and a half for that moment, and then you don't see them again. You might get an email or something, but you don't actually look into their eyes. In fact, it's very difficult to look into people's eyes on the screen, especially if you've got a big group, because you're just seeing the square around them, and you're not really as connected or as engaged with them as you would if you were sitting across the desk from them or sitting in the same room as them. So that's really been a challenge for me. And one particular example has been somebody who was on the team who wasn't pulling their weight, and it was very challenging for me to find out why, and what, how can I, and the only thing I could say was, how can I help you? Because I had no idea what was going on when that person was not on the screen. They just were, supposed to come to the meetings and do the things that we agreed that they do, but they weren't happening. So that the conversation was very difficult. Trying to get to the bottom of that, because if you're working in an office and you're seeing people every day, then you're hearing all the other stuff that's going on around them, and you're getting information from different sides and different people. But there's just one person who was hundreds, thousands of miles away from me, who I'd never met before, but just talking into this box with them all the time. So I was really struggling sometimes to be compassionate and I was certainly being curious because I wanted to know what was going on, but it was hard to find that connectivity, because you can only connect if someone is willing to connect with you from the other side. And it was very difficult to break down, get through that wall or climb that fence or whatever it was that was between us. So this is, I love these 7 C's, they're wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Helen. And I'm curious to know, how did you navigate those C's?
Well, I really had to be very honest and have an honest conversation and say, look, let's just see where you need help and what are your intentions with you know, being a part of this, of my team, because it's a voluntary team. So you would think if somebody volunteers to do something, then they will give they're doing it because they want to give their all. But there were all kinds of personal reasons why he could not deliver on what he promised he'd deliver. And when I got to the bottom of what those reasons were and understood them and asked him, what is it that you want? He wanted to stop. He wanted to step back so that he could focus on his personal issues, but he didn't know how. He didn't want to let the side down. And it's different when you're working with volunteers, because there is this sort of element of volunteership is very, it can be very loose. People give what they want to give, and you can be as demanding as you like as a team leader, but you have no agreement or obligation, no contractual obligations with them as you would with an employee. So there were no repercussions. It's a different approach, needs a different approach. And in the end, we decided that it would be best if he was to step back and step up away from the team, and we would find somebody else who would be willing to take on his responsibilities. So that's what happened. So we parted friends, and I think he did say, I'm so relieved that we've had this conversation, because I now feel that this weight of responsibility, that I wasn't meeting keeping my promises to you. So it finished well. We had a good result, I think, for everybody, but it took longer than it probably would have done if we'd both been in the same room and been able to have that conversation before.
Thank you for that. It seems like you did apply compassion, curiosity, and also the courage to really have that courageous conversation. Thank you for that. Farah?
Thanks, Ubuntu. So I see that when I was hearing through the 7 C's, and I just had one, I don't remember who has written this quote, I had read it somewhere, that said they would not remember what you said, but they would definitely remember how you made them feel. Mm-hmm. And I can definitely relate that at the moment here, that it's so important that if we really navigate through these 7 C's, as in when we have conversations with our team, there's going to be immense bond, trust, oneness, and I would also say a true leader is the one who actually does not exist. You need to be someone who's omnipresent yet not visible, I would say, and they're so empowered, they're so enlightened to talk to us. They don't see us as someone with titles or designations. They just see us as humans, and they just want to come and talk to us for whatever that's going on in their mind, their struggles, their pains. I think that's something that as leaders we need to bring more humility to our roles, the way we converse, the way we handle things. That's going to make a huge difference if we want to go long in the leadership role. So this is something I really felt when I was listening through everything that you were talking about.
Thank you very much for that. Anyone else, or are you ready to just go to the breakout rooms and have a little bit of, being intimate with another person? Yeah? Because that's also part of Ubuntu. Yeah. So what I would like you to do is to think about the mantra I shared. That is, see more, hear more, love more, illuminate more, be more, and do less. And so the contemplation here would be to think about a leader, a mentor, a teacher, a community member, a family member that really touched you in your heart. Someone who even made you feel like, wow, it is possible. So what I'd like you to do, think about this person who was able to see you, who was able to hear you, who was able to love you for not having done anything, just as a human being. And I would like you to share with your partner, let me check the time, to share for about 3 minutes. Just quickly, what did that person do? How did you feel? How are you feeling in this present moment as you are sharing and connecting to that experience? So after 3 minutes, take a minute to get that sharing to really settle. After a minute, the other person shares. And then after that, we come back. So it's going to be 7 minutes. I've shortened it, but I think that would be enough to give us that feel. So I'm seeing smiles. And I'm curious, what happened there? Anyone would like to share how it was for you to be taken back to that experience?
I'll go first, Ubuntu, and I got an opportunity to talk to Chaya in the checkout room, and I think I took a little longer time than given to me, and I'm sorry, Chaya, we couldn't have much from your side, but I would say a lot of flashbacks, Ubuntu, in after listening to so much, and I was trying to correlate to who's that person and how did that person influence me in my life, and trying to see all these things were quite well done by that person who's influencing me at the moment, and I want to cherish that. I want to take it forward and have that seen in every thought, action, behavior that I have. I take forward. So I'm really glad I could go back and cater to what I already have. It's just that I want to start following it again. Thanks.
Well, Camilla here. I think we actually, with the exercise, were allowed to feel that Ubuntu, right? Recognizing somebody else and enjoying seeing them and hearing them, even though they weren't present in the room. We were still giving that to that person we were thinking of.
I think you're right, Camilla. I had the same experience. We're talking about a lady that who embodies all of the 7 C's. She wouldn't call it Ubuntu, but she just is Ubuntu, and she makes me feel so much better whenever I have a conversation with her, because she's I was saying to Karen, you know, she's like a mirror, and she asks the questions that I'm probably asking myself, but I just daren't ask them or daren't answer them. And she just goes right to the heart of the matter every time, instinctively, and helps me, because she's just so willing to help me if I have a problem. She's always there, and we can always talk, even if it's just for 5 minutes. That's very often all we need. Just being so down to earth and being so human, and I feel in safe hands when I'm talking to her.
I echo what Helen says in terms of that feeling that gave me, I think it gave us, in terms of that feeling of acceptance and support, and kind of uplifted as well.
So Nobantu, I thought that was an amazing conversation, and you're right. I mean, we sat there smiling, thinking about these people who who are kind and generous, and who had important sort of impact on our lives. And what I found is, having maybe struggled a little bit to find one person as an example to begin with, actually, as we were talking, other examples came through as well. So I felt very grateful to have known people that, as Karen says, make you feel uplifted and good. And equally, it was just a reminder of how I want other people to feel like that when they interact with me. So that was an excellent exercise. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
I just have a last reflection, because I kind of felt that way. I had someone in my head, but as I was listening to Farah speaking, I connected with her story so much, and I thought about the person that meant something to me, that was the essence that was in her story, and then it connects me with what do I do. So I'm thinking about that person, and I'm then thinking about, could I do what they do? Do I have that courage, that compassion, that caring, that, you know, that I'm seeking that in myself as well? So it was a real journey. Really, even just listening to another person talking about what really touched them was a gift in itself. So yeah, thank you.
Wow, if my heart could talk right now, yeah, it's so open. And just to conclude this piece, I would like to share the line from Amanda Gorman's poem. There's a line that really touches me in her poem, when she says, "There is always light if we are brave enough to see that light, if we are brave enough to be that light." So thank you, everyone. Thank you, amazing leaders. Go and illuminate more. Use your candles to light other people's candles. So as a way of checking out, you can check out the way you want to. What do you want to leave us with as we leave this circle?
I would just like to breathe out. And I felt like arriving here in Italy was like having a big breath out. But this is even more. So thank you.
Yes, thank you for this moment of breathing out to everybody. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
I'm going to go with a smile on my face, because I've just loved the conversations and I loved everything that you've said, Nobantu. So I'm hoping I can keep the smile on my face for the rest of the day. And I'll certainly be reading a lot more about what you're doing, and hoping to hear more about it, because it has been illuminating. I feel illuminated. Thank you.
Thank you, Ubuntu, so much for opening our eyes, opening our ears, and filling our hearts. And I feel really inspired and illuminated to really reflect on your teachings and see how I can put it into practice in my life. So thank you. And thank you very much, everyone else, for your openness and rich conversation.
So Nobantu, I would like to say that this has been the best hour of my week. I'd also like to say that it's actually incredibly helpful, because I will be with some friends who are going through a quite tough time tomorrow. And I feel that I have got some extra energy, warmth, something bigger that will help me with them tomorrow. So thank you very much. And also thank you to everybody else, because this has been a great session. Thank you.
I would like to just thank everybody in this session, and it felt like a journey, I would say, from where we started and where we are right now. There has been, I think there's one more layer of Ubuntu in my mind now, which it's going to be quite consciously working with me. And I would definitely want to keep all C's alive in everything that I do. And that's something I'm taking back today. Thank you.
Just taking in everyone. I'm checking out with love. This has been such an intimate 1 hour, and it's amazing for me. It's been across time and space. It doesn't feel like an hour. It doesn't feel short. It doesn't feel long. It just feels like, wow, this was supposed to be it. Thank you very much for the gifts that you've given me. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Nobantu. I'm always so energized when I've spoken to you and spent time with you. I'm so glad to have been able to share this with the people on this call, and to those who will get the recording as well. I will send out something a bit later with a bit more details about how you can do more with Nobantu. She's offering another course very shortly. But yeah, and I just want to invite you to share, how you feel with me as well. I mean, if there's something later that we want to bring into the collective and maybe continue the conversation in the collective, I think that would be really valuable, because I feel like this is just the start of something, and we've done a lot in 1 hour. And I appreciate your time so much. So thank you all. Hope you have a really lovely week, rest of the week and weekend. And take care. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Nobantu.
Thank you.
Thanks, all.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.